Hi everyone. So, quick disclaimer before the episode starts. We're just thinking of changing the posting schedule to Monday and Tuesday instead of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because we think that since it's summer, it'll be easier if we didn't post during the weekends.
It'll give us more time to edit during the weekend and to record before. And also, we just like the idea of posting early in the weekday. Like, I think it's a nice beginning of a week to start with a good video.
So, yeah, starting now, we're thinking of changing it to Mondays and Tuesdays before we take a break for the entire month of August.
Yes, for our holidays.
Absolutely, our
Absolutely.
holidays. So yeah, without further ado, please
Have
enjoy.
a great summer.
Yes, of course, have a nice day and please enjoy the episode.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Turnabout podcast.
Oh my god. Are you trying to seduce our audience? Is that what's going on?
Absolutely, because they are. If you're listening to this, you are very much a hot person.
Oh, of course. That's a given, I feel like.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So,
You're automatically hot. No question asked.
of course,
No doubt.
we have the hottest audience in the planet.
Yeah, our audience is actually responsible for global warming.
What?
That's how hot they are.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. So I am your co-host, Nicki Minaj's verse on Kissing Strangers.
And I'm your co-host, Nicki Minaj's verse on Swish Swish.
Bish,
Another one in the basket.
Casket.
Casket.
And welcome back to Turnabout podcast. Spoiler alert.
Yes, spoiler alert incoming. Spoilers incoming. We're gonna be discussing.
I'm so happy we remembered.
Yeah.
So this week, for this week's episode, we kind of wanted to make a YouTube docu-series episode, like psychological psychoanalysis.
Yeah. Armchair psychology episode.
Our Shane Dawson episode.
Yes. Without the cat fucking.
We do not endorse his actions or him in general, but yeah, basically what he tried doing. We're gonna be asking some deeper questions.
Not 10, like
not
usual.
10, because they
Fewer.
weren't discussion.
Yeah. But before doing so, we have a very special person to introduce.
We absolutely do.
Mm-hmm.
So our feature artist for the week is beeridgettt, or B.
Yeah.
Hi B.
Hi, B.
Thank you for giving us permission to feature your work,
Thank you
girl.
for letting us feature your work. Absolutely.
What do you think?
I love her. So I'm gonna talk about. I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's the first one I ever saw, and it's the Tiny Siblings one.
That's one of my favorites.
I love this one so much. I saw this on my Instagram feed, and I literally screamed. I was like, "Oh my god, this is the cutest thing ever!"
Look at that.
It's so cute, and I sent it to you immediately. I was like, "This is the cutest thing ever."
I want
it's
to
adorable.
eat them up.
I want them to be cookies.
Yes.
It's adorable. They're so cute.
That's what I'm thinking mainly about her work, by the way. I'm thinking that
it's adorable.
It's very easily she can very easily make a brown out of it.
Absolutely.
Stickers. If she sold these as patches, I would find
or pins.
But patches specifically because of that piece, which is a lot of the small cheapy art style together.
Yeah.
If these were sold as patches, I could find a pair of jeans and iron them on. And
definitely.
Can you imagine a piece of clothing
that
with
would
these
be so
on?
cute. Or badges, or for the minis, they could be earrings.
Yes.
I know, right? That would be amazing.
Oh my god! Please be, if you're listening.
Please be, make earrings out of them. Absolutely.
So is that your favorite?
I also, when I kind of looked at our account, I love the Gavin's mom one because
That's
we
the other one.
discussed it. we discussed it. We're like, in last episode, we did talk about
We
parents.
did.
And we imagined Gavin's mom, and I love
You
how
said
she drew it.
you can imagine her as Amy Poehler from Mean Girls.
Yeah. That's how I see her.
Absolutely.
And then for
she
my...
looks stunning.
Yeah. Like, I love all of her minis, and I think what I really like about it, she draws characters that aren't usually drawn, like Iris and Eni.
Oh.
Like, I love that. I really like that.
You know, the one with Eni is like, she drew my girl, so...
She drew your girl.
We gotta support it. And she says, is he like, fruity?
Do you feel like this is Eni talking about you?
Yes. She's discussing me before we became best friends.
Does a little gay dance that pisses you off. Yeah, this is great.
Amazing content. I also really like...
Yeah, what were your favorites?
I won't tell you who exactly it is because you might get to play Undertale soon. But basically, B did this character who's super flamboyant from the game.
Okay.
In a cowboy outfit.
Ooh.
And he looks so good.
Is that Lil Nas X outfit?
Yes.
Yeah.
It most definitely is.
Absolutely.
So I really like this one. I can't tell you who it is, but yeah. I really dig, like I was surprisingly like kind of like how kind of like grateful, I'd say, about the race bent Regina.
That was good.
It's an interesting choice. I really liked it. And yeah, like as you said, the minis are just iconic.
Iconic.
So yeah, I really like her chibi work. Like Trucy being able to like be into like
that was so cute.
palms.
Yeah.
Very cute work. Very cutesy. Very petite. Like overall
Extremely petite.
Cute. And please be, if you're listening again, if you make earrings or merch, we'll 100% buck you up in this financial endeavor.
Absolutely, we will.
So yeah, please go follow B. Show all the support. And again, B, thank you so much for agreeing to be featured on this week's episode.
Thank you.
Yeah, we love your work.
Absolutely, we do. We absolutely do. And yeah, thank you for letting us feature you. And
now
keep it going.
What?
Keep it going, B.
Yeah, keep up the good work.
Absolutely.
So now let's go from talking about cute stuff to talking about trauma.
Yeah.
What
Which
a
is
nice transition.
Exactly what we talk about every day.
Absolutely.
There is no like, we just go from one extreme to another.
Also, I have to say, I was thinking the other day that in our earlier episodes, we were like constantly referencing Pooja.
Oh, that's true.
And we kind of like stopped abruptly.
Pooja let go of the hold she had on us.
Oh my god, can you remember like almost every few episodes?
Absolutely.
Like we were talking about, Pooja, what is this behavior?
Absolutely. It was like we were always quoting it because it was at a time when we created the podcast, we had just discovered that video, so we were laughing so much about it. And our name was...
I kicked it by mistake.
What do you mean? You can't kick it by mistake.
Are you asking for it? You're dying for it.
You're dying for it.
Get off my back. Stop mooching me. Stop mooching me.
Our names on our conversation was Get Off My Back. Do you remember that? Get Off and it was My Back. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Shall we begin?
Yes, we shall. I have,
Start.
I think, 7 or 8 questions.
Because I think you have more than me.
Yeah.
And I have 6.
So, but you kind of know what's coming from me. The first 3 questions is about forgiving.
Okay.
So my first question is, do you think Phoenix forgives Edgeworth after what went down in the first game?
I do think he forgives him.
Mm.
And I think in a way, I'm sure there was resentment, but I think he was never... I think he always knew that there was still Edward somewhere, like that Edward had still his humanity. So I think not only did he forgive him, but he always had trust in him.
Thing is that Phoenix is not only gullible, like he's easily convinced.
He's very optimistic.
Very optimistic and kind of naive as well. Like we see in the first game when he's presenting damning and evidence to the people he's trying to send away. Red, white.
Absolutely.
Like I feel like he, in terms of relationship, he'd give everyone the benefit of the doubt.
And he believes the best in people.
Yeah, but even so, I think it was kind of like the nature of the relationship as well. Because, like, what I want to reference here is that in no way does it hold a candle to the original, but I'm thinking about Apollo and Nayuta.
Yeah.
Like, how they tried to emulate Edgeworth and Phoenix in a way, and how Apollo kind of, like, talks about Nayuta being a completely new person, like, different from the one he knew in high school, or, like, as a child, sorry. But Phoenix, I bet Edgeworth was like always like kind of a hard ass.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like Phoenix knew that he was going through a rough time.
Yeah.
Like he might not have recognized him, similar to how Apollo didn't recognize Nayuta. But like as you said as well, he knew that deep down there was Edgeworth. So I think he did forgive him. Although he tries to like, in the second game, whenever Edgeworth is mentioned, he like tries to avoid it and he tells Maya off. Like he's like, please don't mention him again. But I think that's just stupid. Because Edgeworth was an asshole in the first game towards Phoenix, but at the same time, he literally thought that Manfred von Karma had nothing to do with his dad's murder.
Yeah, he was deeply traumatized.
Yeah, so I think although Phoenix did actually hold a grudge in the second game, I think he ultimately forgave Edgeworth. Yeah. I mean,
it must have been traumatizing to find that out.
How long could they go without having sex?
Not a long time. Probably.
Absolutely not. So yeah, that's our very short answer to this very deep question.
Yes.
What is the title of this episode even gonna be? The psychology episode? That sounds stupid.
Characters depth?
Mice?
I don't know.
Mice 2.
Staples? Mice 2. Do you remember when I was saying like a stable and you thought I was talking like a horse? Staples?
Staplers, that's gonna be the title.
Absolutely. So my first question is, do you think that Pearls will grow to resent Maya later?
Oh my god, I think I have something similar.
Really? Or will the relationship remain the exact same?
Okay, let me check my question. Okay, it's different actually.
Okay.
So why though? Like, how do you explain it?
First of all,
like Pearls, why resent Maya?
First of all, Pearls lost almost everybody in her life apart from Maya. And then Maya, when Pearl is 16, leaves as well to go to Karain. So maybe that could grow resentment. But also resentment over the same way that Morgan started to resent her sister over like power and stuff. Do you think that would happen? Because we don't really get to know Pearls as a person. Like we get to see her as a child, but we have no idea what she's like as an adult, you know. She could grow to be a completely different person.
We don't get to know her other than a plot device, you mean?
Yeah, ish. Because she doesn't really have a very strong personality in Dual Destiny.
I mean, we've discussed before how she's like solely placed there in order to drive home the joke that Phoenix and Maya are together.
Yeah.
But from what we did see of her, and also considering like her upbringing, like her evil mom is locked away. She doesn't have a father. Her sisters are like evil. she's been rolling with Phoenix and Maya. I think like she's always kind of like she'll fail to grow up eventually. Like she's kind of like Regina Barry in the fact that she's always in her own world.
Yeah, they say that trauma freezes you at the age that it happened.
Yeah.
So do you think she'll be like constantly?
And I don't even think like she grasped
gap.
the drama, like the trauma. Excuse me. Like I don't think she like fully grasped what happened.
Yeah.
But like it'd be really interesting. I feel kind of like now that we're discussing it, I feel like kind of cheated. Like, yeah, in Dual Destinies, we see her as a teen, so someone must have told her by the time she was like a teenager what happened. Like it had to be inevitable for someone to tell her, oh, like Morgan,
explain to her the full extent of it.
Like someone has to have told her, like, you know, Morgan did this.
And also, she's not mentioned at all in Apollo Justice.
No.
And Maya leaves for Corain. So, is she still close with Phoenix? Like, who is raising her? She seems to be living alone in Corain Village.
It's honestly like, and she's going to a normal school if like they're going to like excursions to the aquarium.
Yeah.
So, it's pretty hard to like conclude or come up with a solid answer because I feel like we haven't seen enough of this character as a human being,
as a full-fledged person.
But like from what we've seen, again, how she, with who she's associated with who she like spends her time with, and also like Maya kind of taking over as a parental figure in her life. I feel like she might like grow distant from Maya at some point, but I don't think she'll ever resent her.
Resent her? Okay. Other side question. Do you think Trucy and Burls are friends? Is it mentioned? I can't remember.
That's what I was thinking. Like in Spirit of Justice, is Pearls in it?
I don't think so.
She's not in, right?
No. Yes, she is. In the last episode in Corain when Archie Buff is killed.
Right. Does she go to Kurain afterwards?
I don't think so.
That was such a...
They could have been friends. It could have been interesting, Trucy and Pearls as a duo.
Like magic girls.
Yeah, magic girls. And they're the same age. But
it'd be interesting, but like they're so obviously clones of each other that I don't know.
The thing is, like, I agree with
brutal.
You. I don't... I think she might slightly resent Maya for leaving. And Pearls. And like leaving her alone. But I don't think that'll stick. And I don't know if we addressed this on the podcast last week or just in private. But I don't see Maya having kids.
No.
And so
we mentioned it, that there's a stigma.
And I think that I don't see Maya having kids. In my mind, she's asexual. And I see Pearls taking over the village when Maya retires. So I see, like, I don't think Pearls would ever be, like, having a grudge for power. Because I do think, like, Pearls will eventually be in charge of the Corain village. And I think it could have been a really interesting route to take. Pearls like kind of rejecting Corain, or even like
actually that's what I was gonna tell you now. I don't want to spoil it for you in case you watch it, but I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
And the intro throughout its 7-season run, like starts with an eerie voice, like kind of like grainy voice saying, "In every generation there's a single Slayer born," and the like in the 7th season, the final season, is kind of like overturning conventions because it's like, well, why does tradition say that there can only be one Slayer? Like Buffy kind of like makes sure to make an army of Slayers.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the opposite of, like, the exact opposite of what happens in Corain Village. Like, actually, especially with what happened in Kurain, where like it turned out that Queen Garen couldn't even channel.
Yeah.
I feel like there's gonna be, sadly, a rejection and a fall in the spirit medium world and culture. Like I feel like Maya, Pearls, and some people from Kurain are like the last few people from that culture, and like they don't really want to continue it because it brought so much pain.
Definitely. I agree with you. That's a really good point. And that could have been explored so well
In Spirit of Justice.
I think it's a missed opportunity.
A lot of things could have been explored in Spirit of Justice, such as Athena and her story arc, which turned out to be invisible. My next question is, did Maya ever forgive her mom for both leaving her, abandoning them, but also not coming clean that she was Elise, and then like her last moments being
dishonest.
Yeah, like not being like Misty.
As nice as Maya is, and I love the character, she's so sweet. I don't think so, because given the circumstances of Misty's death, Maya never got closure. And I think like she could have potentially forgiven her if they had like this one last conversation. Yeah. But because Maya was robbed of that, and she never got this like closure of being able to process it and talk about it and have an explanation or have just an apology, I think it'll be hard. I don't think she holds, like, I don't think it's eating her up and inside it's like a full-on grudge that she bears and that she hates her mother, but I do think it'll be hard for her to forgive. What about you?
Honestly, for me, it's not even about forgiving. Like, I'm thinking about it now and I'm thinking, like, she doesn't hold a grudge, right? But also, like, I feel like the day Misty abandoned both Mia and Maya, they had to learn to fend for themselves and cope. So by the point that Bridge to Turnabout comes around, like, Misty not even showing up to support her own daughter after her eldest daughter died. Yeah. Like, Maya was like, oh, she's genuinely an asshole. Like, Phoenix
like she doesn't even care.
Phoenix had to care for... Like, that's insane. Now I'm just thinking about this. Like, Misty never showed up.
The funeral.
Yeah. Of her own daughter.
Yeah.
So...
Like, that's insane.
I feel like Maya kind of, like, had to, like, learn to fend for herself. And because she's constantly such a happy-go-lucky person, I feel like it's not even about forgiving. It's like literally she canceled Elise / Misty out of her life. So like when she found out that it was her mom that got killed in Bridge to Turnabout, she was like, of course she must have been sad, but like she was like, but this woman was now a stranger to me.
Yeah. They didn't have any connection.
She didn't know this woman anymore.
Exactly.
And I kind of hate Misty for this. Like
it's heartbreaking.
Maya being left alone, underaged.
Like, I don't remember exactly what I answered last week, but I do think in a way, I don't know, but like Morgan Faye and Misty Faye are bad parents in different ways, but at least Morgan Faye really cared about Pearls. You know what I mean? Like she thought for her, and she didn't leave.
I remember you said Gregory and that Misty
because Misty did die for Maya to protect her.
She did.
But when you think about the whole timeline, she is a bit of an asshole.
She is an asshole, and not showing up after Mia's death was like such a big foul. Yeah. But for Mia and Maya to be the person they are, be the people they are, they must have been raised with some ideals. Yeah. Until like she left. So that's respectful, like the young daughters and women she raised to be like that. But she's such a coward. It's insane.
Definitely.
So yeah.
My next question is kind of linked to that one. It is, what do you think are the ramifications of Mia having to raise Maya alone so young?
Oh my god.
So, Fae-themed questions.
Just for context, for those listening and who don't know, I recently gave in a paper for my theory course, during which I studied the way Mia Fey embodies feminism.
Absolutely.
And I feel
And it was
like,
a great paper.
Thank you very much. I feel like the Mia we knew, we know, and we come to love and meet on that first trial is so affected by her story. Like, we don't know her story when we meet her, but she's so affected by what she went through, like her mom going missing, like having to raise Maya, that I feel like she might be like a mentor to Phoenix, but also a mother. Like, she has such a motherly
Absolutely.
instinct with her. Like, even though she's overly sexualized, she embodies a mother and like the traditional image of a mother. And
even the big breast in a way is very motherly. Like, it's the milk, it's the symbol of like motherhood, fertility, and stuff like that. Fertility.
So yeah, like, I feel like the ramifications, I mean, it must have been hard for her, but she definitely like picked up a lot, and it changed her as a character for the better.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I was thinking the same way. What you said about Phoenix, I think like it definitely affected the way she resonated with her clients, and because Phoenix started as her client, like, and became her mentor, but it was very much a relationship of protection, and like I see Mia as like a mama wolf. You know what I mean? Like, fiercely protective of her like pupils, including Maya. But I do think like, well, it has obvious ramifications in the games because she like turns her back on the Fae clan and she goes into like Japanese culture. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, she goes into modernity and becomes a lawyer instead of becoming the head of the Fae clan.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of disgusted is a strong word, but turned her away from that kind of herself because she associated with her mother, and it was so disappointing and it was so painful.
Yeah.
But I do think that it made her incredibly protective and much stronger, and I think it gave her the strength to want to protect others, so to be a lawyer. I think that's kind of what made her want to go into that direction.
I agree, and I also think that that's why she's always like in the eyes of the player, her being channeled is such a beacon of hope.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, Mama's here to make it right.
Like, every time she came in the game, I was like, oh, it's like Mama is here to save her ass. You know,
like, I felt safe.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think it was for the best. Instead of like having a coward.
Absolutely.
My last question about forgiving is, did Emma forgive Lana?
I think so.
You do?
I think she did. Because she got closure. She got she got a reasoning for what happened and how it happened. She was able to understand, and also the age gap as Emma grew older. We talked about last week. She grew more similar to Lana. So I think she, like, by growing up and becoming a closer version to her, she was able to understand the choice she made. Does that make sense?
It does, but it's interesting what you say, because I'm keeping everything into consideration and it's kind of like reshaping my answer. But at the same time, I feel like I know it was for the best, and it, like, Lana had Emma's like best interest in mind. Thank you. But at the same time, it's so, how do you say it? Like, it breaks you in a way when you see your
Yeah.
own sister acting this way towards you and not letting her help. Like, it made it even worse.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she was being such an asshole. Like, there's a reason she's disliked by us.
Yeah.
And honestly,
It is heartbreaking to see. Because Emma is trying her best. And
the
you,
only
as your
thing,
player, you're trying your best.
the only thing that feeds into my doubts is that we never see her again
Yeah.
or hear about her.
Mm.
Like, I feel like Emma is the good, like, she got the, like Lana got kind of like the cold traits, and Emma got like the hotter traits, like forgiveness, being cheerful, being joyful, like turning a bad situation on its
Yeah.
head. But at the same time, like, why, like, as she grows older and she gets more cynical, then I feel like they'd be side to side working together, and we never
Yeah.
see Lana again. I mean, yeah, that's has to do with writing, but like, it also kind of speaks on character
Definitely.
and experience, and like, I feel like she might have forgiven her, but like after Lana got out, she might not have been the best, and I think that they might not be on the best terms
Maybe.
in the future like timeline.
They're very different people. As much as Emma kind of grows more cynical, I do think they have different cores. I think like Emma grew to become more like Lana because of external circumstances. Yeah, but I do think they're quite opposite. So I don't doubt that there still is conflict in their relationship, but I do think there is still a relationship, and that is semi good one. Okay.
It's difficult to say, honestly.
Because we don't get to see loads of them again.
Yeah. And I wish we'd see Lana in the future storyline, in the timeline. Yeah. So what's your next question, bestie? Sock.
A little ASMR moment.
A little bestie sock.
Bestie shoe.
Are you going insane over the mic?
Yes. So, bestie shoe. My next question is, what do you think Phoenix was studying, and do you think he sometimes regrets changing path and being a lawyer?
Isn't it confirmed that he was in art school?
Yeah, but like, what was he studying in art school?
Oh. And what's the second part? Do I regret what?
Do you think he regrets changing path and becoming a lawyer?
Okay, I think Phoenix was studying fine art.
Okay.
Like, not animation or anything, like fine art, like the core thing. And I feel like you have to, when you're doing that, you have to like really insert yourself into the work. And he didn't really know who he was. Like, because he was also dating Dahlia and being so blind about it. Like, he's like low-key kind of insane when we first meet him as Mia. So I feel like his erratic behavior was like a catalyst for the degree. And I feel like because of how he grew up and his childhood experience with the classroom court, I feel like his true calling was to become a lawyer.
Yeah.
Despite him and his inner thoughts always like kind of like having self-doubt. I don't think he regrets it. I feel like he knows this was his true calling. Because like he also learned to like channel his and like restrain his erratic behavior. When we first see him, he's a completely different person.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think like the like lawyer stuff put him in like shape and like shaped who he was meant to be.
Okay.
I don't think he regrets it. I think after like help save like helping save people, he really like feels confident that this was what he was meant to be doing.
Yeah.
Because he does have a strong moral compass.
Absolutely, he does.
He's sometimes very self-righteous sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. I think in my mind he was always a painter. Because the sweater he has is very similar to the one that Larry wears when he's like painting. So in my head, Phoenix as a student was a painter. And I don't think he regretted it. Because I do think that being a lawyer is his true calling. Like you said, especially with the childhood story. But sometimes, like, I think about it, I think the first game is so coherent and consistent. It makes so much sense that he would, like, have this childhood story and decide to become a lawyer.
Yeah.
That it doesn't really make sense for the third game to be like, oh, well, actually, he was, like, an art student. I do love that part of the story, but I wish they, like, explained it a little more. Because it does seem like it's a detour from his trajectory that he had since he was a kid. But I love the idea of him changing paths. I think,
but it is more realistic in that way.
It is more realistic.
Like, how many times have you thought of like changing course?
Absolutely, I do think it's much more realistic, and I think it's a very important part of life of like being wrong and changing course and changing trajectory. So I was super happy that something like that was included in the game. But it just like from a storyline standpoint, it makes less sense.
It does.
And I don't think he ever regretted it. I think it's Phoenix, right? He's the ace attorney. That's just in his blood.
Yeah.
However, I do wish that...
I mean, if the great ace attorney is his ancestor,
yeah, it's literally in his blood. But I do think that since we have a game where he's not a lawyer anymore, I wish that I'd given him, first of all, a real job.
Yeah.
And just not him being kind of a loser, and I'm sorry about that. And something related to art school. Like, it would have been cool if he had done something related to that kind of part. Maybe his Papa Hat outfit could be, like, have a, like, reference to the pink, like, big sweater. Like, I don't know, maybe link that.
It was so out of left field and, like, so random.
Yeah, like, it was really random. Like he's never mentioned to be poker. He's never mentioned to play piano.
Maybe that's how he knew Drew Mission.
Yeah, that could have been like it could have been. There was obviously something in his part that wasn't exploded, like this kind of art school thing. They could have used it for their new like storyline.
It felt lazy.
It felt like so like he's never mentioned to play poker. He's never mentioned to play piano. He's mentioned to do something else, like choose something in that field. I think I would have liked that better.
Phoenix was never calm and collected. I don't like the new direction for him.
He was always super anxious and like...
We barely talk about Phoenix on this podcast.
Absolutely. We should.
Shockingly.
Like, he's very anxious and he has a very strong moral compass. Like, the way he acts in Apollo Justice, he would never act like that, like, super cool, connected, disconnected, like, aloof. And giving you false evidence.
It's the same in Dual Destiny.
It's annoying. I do like the growth in confidence because he showed that he's matured. It's just, like, the attitude, like... appearing to not care, not reaching out.
And we haven't seen how he got that confidence.
Yeah.
So.
We want to see the growth.
Like, of course, Bridge to Turnabout was like the court proceeding, like the trial of the century, but
yeah.
What happened afterwards? Like, how did it affect him? Seeing his ex-girlfriend like literally explode and meeting the love of his life.
Mm-hmm.
Like seeing Maya's mom die.
Yeah.
Like defending Maya, like her reaching a breaking point. Godot blaming him over Mia, like, and what does it end up? Like the next time we see him, his like Papa Hat, one eye looking at the ceiling.
I hate
what
that.
The fuck?
Like, imagine if they wanted him to like not be a lawyer and kind of be slightly without a job. Making a struggling artist. Like, how fun it would have been to have, like, Phoenix back into the pink sweater thing. Yeah. Being, like, a loving father and being, like, kind of a broke artist. Like, it would have worked the same way. It would have been the same results. It could have explained how you knew a mission and stuff. And it would have at least be linked to his past and be coherent.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So my next question, Bestie Sock, is: did Edgeworth see himself in Von Karma or Damon Gunt? Because I recently finished Rise from the Ashes, and by the end, Gunt is going on about how Edgeworth like knows, like he's very he says me and you are very similar, and then he goes on to like talk about like how they're both crooked and talk about like self-interest and having that in mind and shit. So it was like, yeah, Von Karma like did brainwash Edgeworth and like had him wear a cravat, and like his ways are very Von Karma-ish, but then Damon Gunt like is systematically like a worm that slowly rose up, and that's what kind of Edgeworth did as well.
Yeah, I think Edgeworth wanted to be like Von Karma, like he strove to be that way, but he was much more similar to Damon Gaunt when you think about it. Like
That's what I was gonna say, by the way.
I think Von Karma was ruthless, and whereas Damon Gaunt and Edgeworth were sly and ambitious and cunning, but it's different kind of drive, you know what I mean?
I don't know if it's gonna make sense, but I feel like domestically he was striving to be Von Karma, but externally he was being Damon Gunt.
Yeah.
Like in the system, at his work, as at his career, he was acting like Damon Gunt.
Yeah.
But inside, and because like I'm guessing he lived with Von Karma.
I think
I
so.
guess like
I mean, not when we start game 1, but he grew up with him. I think he got his own place after a while.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he does make a living as a prosecutor,
so
he has that red fancy car of
absolutely, which has a corpse in the back.
Yes.
Corpse party. But I'm thinking like he was always striving to be that, and because he's Gregory's son, he'd never be that, even though that's how he was presented.
Yeah, like he wanted to be it, but he just couldn't. So it resulted in being more similar to Damon Gaunt, which is kind of a mix between good and evil. Like it has some good in Damon Gaunt. Like he's very charming, he's very manipulative. Whereas like with Manfred Von Karma, you get pretty much what you see. Like, he's an asshole from the get-go.
Like, Gunt's actions were disgusting, like holding Lana hostage for so many years. But at the same time, the judge of all people, like, is making remarks about how he was, like, used to be one of the greats.
Yeah.
So I feel like he was tainted by the system that failed him. And, like, there's this, like, being promoted to overachieve and rise in rank and stuff.
Yeah.
That's what Edgeworth is thinking.
Exactly.
Like, self-centered, like, I have to, like, climb the ladder in the prosecutor's office, you know?
Got it. I agree.
Absolutely, bestie sock.
So my next question.
How many questions do you have left?
I still have, a lot? I have 3 left.
3?
Yeah, how many do you have?
5.
You have 8? I thought you had 7.
I thought I had 7 as well.
I only had 6.
Okay.
So my next one is, which villain is a narcissist, a sociopath, and a psychopath?
What?
Like, which villain is a narcissist, which one is a sociopath, and which one is a psychopath?
Oof. So help me out a bit.
Yeah.
Sociopath or narcissist? Look at me. I think is narcissist.
I think he's a narcissist too.
Yeah.
I think, just for the record, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think the difference between sociopath and psychopath, they're quite similar. Like, they wouldn't do anything for their own gain. But I think sociopath have very weak conscience, and psychopath just doesn't have it. They don't have conscience.
Okay, so the narcissist is definitely look at me.
Yeah. Okay.
Sociopath is Simon Keyes.
That was my answer as well, because he's insane and he has no moral compass and stuff like that, but you can tell that he has a conscience. Like in week
he
one,
does.
and he has slight remorse.
And psychopath is just someone who's like unhinged.
Yeah.
Like honestly, it's gonna sound insane, but it's like Alita Tiala.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's a psychopath. She fits the profile.
She's insane.
She is insane.
And no remorse.
Absolutely no remorse.
Yeah.
Or like, who else could we say? Like
My
Bobby
answer-
Fulbright?
Yeah, but like Bobby Fulbright, I feel like
Booby Fulbright?
Booby Fulbright.
Breasts Fulbright?
Titty Fulbright.
Titties Fulbright, if you will.
I feel like Titty Fulbright was a product of his like job and not like his nature.
Oh
I
my
was
God.
gonna say for psychopath, Dahlia Hawthorne.
Oh, definitely.
Full on
Definitely.
psychopath.
She's a psychopath.
She's like a psychopath. For
Interesting
sociopath.
how both Alita, Tiala, and Dahlia are like the innocent girlfriend
Yeah,
stereotype.
the cutesy girlfriends. And for sociopath, absolutely Simon Keyes. Like that was my answer as well. And for narcissist, I was thinking Madame Guard.
Yeah, that too. Either Look at Me or Madame Guard. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, insane people.
Do you think Manfred Karma has like remorses?
No, I don't. I feel like he's a raging narcissist, like as much as he can be, like
So is psychopath or a narcissist?
psychopath, 100%. Like he's insane.
Yeah.
No, like literally insane.
Mm.
Like I feel like he felt proud, like for like killing Edgeworth's dad. Like he took pride in that. Like that was one of his best achievements, and he took that to his grave.
You think?
I do.
I don't think so, actually. I think he's a sociopath. I think he has a very weak conscience.
What?
Because he does take Edgeworth in. Like, I think that he's kind of, like, out of remorse. Because, like, he describes the way he killed, like, Gregory Edgeworth as just, like, an outburst of, like, insanity. And then he does take Edgeworth in. So I do think he's just, like, an insane person.
Why did he take Edgeworth in?
I
That's
think
the
he
real
felt-
question.
I think he felt bad inside, but there's also the
No.
possibility of like
I disagree.
his worst nemesis, like that would be the worst humiliation, like making his son the son of his enemy that he killed.
Yeah, that's
like
the
him.
mentality I think he had. He
You
had
think?
like a domineering, like kind of like, oh, like I killed this man,
Yeah,
and now I'm gonna turn his son into me, like the
like
worst
kind
thing.
of destroying the legacy of Gregory Edgeworth.
Yeah, that's why I say psychopath.
Okay, got it.
Really interesting.
Real interesting conversation.
Interesting episode, fellow audience members and Bestie Talk. My next question was something that really put me off about Justice for All. So my
Okay.
next question is, why does Francisca blame Edgeworth instead of
Oh
Phoenix
yeah.
for the incarceration of her father?
Because I think they were brought up with
Do you
such...
remember?
Is it explained?
No, do you remember how I reacted?
No, tell me.
I was like so frustrated.
Yeah.
I was playing it when I met you.
Yeah.
I was like, why is this woman so hell-bent on blaming Edgeworth,
Yeah.
who was like
Well,
going
we're
out
right
of his
here.
way to like save on Karma until the
Yeah.
truth was revealed? And not Phoenix, who's the one who actually put Manfred away. Like, how does that make
I
sense?
mean, I'm sure she wasn't a big fan of us at the beginning for that reason too.
No, but like, it was more of a rivalry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they were brought up in constant comparison to one another. Because Manfred was a horrible father figure. I think they were constantly compared and forced to kind of like have to compete against each other in an unhealthy way. So she took it on Edgeworth because that's kind of the way she used to dealing with Edgeworth, I think.
That's really interesting. Like their domestic environment, like maybe that's why she hated Edgeworth, not because of like Manfred was like found guilty, but because he failed
Yeah,
their father,
he did.
like
And she
in
does
the worst way possible. Because in Investigations 1 and Turnabout Reminiscence, we see the rivalry between them when they're kids,
Yeah, absolutely.
and like they're like insane, like insanely competitive for something that's so serious, like children investigating murders and being
Yeah.
competitive about it, like making contest about it. And that's why like she blames Edgeworth because he was unable to keep this on his part. Like,
And I do remember her saying that she wants to beat us because she wants to like succeed where Edgeworth failed. So there is that aspect of competition.
but it still doesn't make sense that she doesn't blame Phoenix
Yeah.
for her dad's incarceration.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, your dad literally went to jail a few months ago. Like, he probably got executed. And you blame, like, Edgeworth for a stupid rivalry instead of Phoenix for sending your
but
dad
it's
away.
like years of rivalry. Like, probably ever since she was like 5 or something.
I don't know. It's insane. Like, I feel like she should have... The writers should have made it so that Francisca showed resentment towards Phoenix, not because she's a prosecutor and he's an attorney, but because she wants to get revenge for her father's actions. And if that's not what happened, then just tell us that she doesn't, like, even through inner monologue or like through dialogue between her and Edgeworth, saying how she doesn't agree with her father's actions on Gregory.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Francisca would never kill someone.
Definitely.
So I feel like they made a shitty job of addressing it because they didn't address it. Like, they could have handled it any way possible, like even having her agree or disagree, but I feel like evading it and avoiding it, like discussing about it, wasn't the way to go. It just...
But I also think that she really underestimated Phoenix. Like, in her mind, Phoenix was an idiot.
And a rookie.
And like, it was like Edgeworth got beat up by this rookie, like, I'm gonna come and destroy him and beat Edgeworth by doing so. And then she slowly started to realize that Phoenix is not an idiot. He's the ace attorney.
It's in his blood.
Yes.
Absolutely. So what's your next question, Bestie Sock?
My next question is, do you think there was ever a time where Morgan genuinely loved her sister/nieces?
As in Misty, Dahlia, and Iris?
No, her nieces, like Maya and Mia.
Why did you say sister?
Loved her sister, Misty, /
Yeah, that's
her
what
nieces.
I said. Like Misty, Dahlia, and Iris.
No. Do you think there was ever a time where Morgan genuinely loved her sister, Misty, and her nieces, Maya and Mia? Morgan's Faye's nieces.
Not Dahlia and Iris.
Nah. I mean, you can also answer the Dahlia and Iris question.
That's hard.
Yeah.
But I can
Because
successfully say she hates Mia and Maya.
Yeah.
From the very beginning. There was never love there. But I do think, like, I'm kind of thinking, like, I don't have a basis for this, but if I was making up non-canonical fan fiction or like coming up with theories, I'd like the idea of like Misty being an awful sister.
Really?
Like being a genuine asshole, as we like.
Kind of the same way she was a bad mom,
Because
being a bad sister.
Yes, like bullying Morgan.
That would make a lot of sense, and that would be actually interesting.
Having more friends.
Instead of having, like...
Because she wasn't, like, I feel like there's a reason behind Morgan's hatred, and I feel like Misty wasn't taking her title seriously. Like, I feel like
she wasn't really about that
Yeah.
village life or the spirit medium life.
Yeah.
And she was
She
like,
didn't want it as badly as Morgan wanted it.
and that's why Mia felt comfortable enough to break away from like tradition, because her mother did so. Like I feel like Misty exemplified a life outside the village, and
That's
Morgan
a really good theory.
like was pissed off because she was like, oh, this is the heir, someone who doesn't even care, whereas I practice it fully and this is what I get in return.
Like, what if Morgan was in love with a man and Misty stole it, and that's the father of Maya and Mia, and that's why she hates them so much, because like she sees in them her ex.
I genuinely love that story.
I loved like it could have been so interesting, because okay, I understand the whole thing, like Morgan is a villain, but why? Ace Attorney is really good at giving us like full-fledged villain character, and like really coherent and like interesting ones. So I wish I kind of did that with Morgan as well, instead of just like, oh, she's just jealous.
And it would make for such nice contrast between like the two sisters, like Mia and Maya, and Morgan and Misty, if they were horrible to each other, but then the other ones were loving. But also I'd love like the idea of like placing Misty on such a pedestal and then finding out that she was actually an asshole.
That like kind of Harry Potter style.
Yes.
With Harry's dad. Like she was a bully. She was like the favorite child of the family. Everything was handed out to her while Morgan had to work really hard. And I love that idea of like Misty not really caring about her like traditions and stuff, because she knew she was gonna like inherit the whole thing.
That's so she didn't best have kind of story.
To work really hard. Where like Morgan was super into it, and there could be the boyfriend thing. Could be exquisite.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I feel like Misty would be a horrible aunt.
Yeah.
Although she does really connect with Pearls. That's kind of shocking.
Yeah.
I feel like it's because she feels bad for what Morgan did. She feels like
maybe she changed.
Oh my god, if she was an asshole, then that would explain like her feeling remorse and trying to connect with Pearls on her last before like her dying moments. Like I drove my sister to like trying to frame my own daughter because I was an asshole. So let me make up for it by being nice to her daughter.
And I do think that would be interesting for her to like found peace after leaving the village and having to like completely give up her title, which made her really untitled and an asshole, and kind of having to be a normal person and to find kindness, and because she writes children's book and all that stuff.
And thing is, it's like I've seen my mom a lot of times, like even if there's a stranger, like someone we don't know that well, but their mother fails to be there for them in a way, she'll be like the most warm person. So I know like maybe Misty was like that. She was like, if she was an asshole, oh, it's all my fault that my sister turned like homicidal maniac.
Yeah.
So now like I can't stand to see this little girl be without a mother.
Yeah.
Let me take her in.
Let me try to like make amends. Yeah, I could see that.
Absolutely.
Oh, and so what about Iris and Dahlia?
I honestly can't say. Like this needs like way more time to think, because she did abandon them.
And we don't know why. Like it's never explained or really addressed.
It's just an info dump by Bikini.
Yeah.
So I think this needs more time.
And
I think
like
it's
what's the deal with their dad? Yeah, we need more info to decipher.
Can you turn on the AC, please?
Again.
So my next question, Bestie Sock, is: do we sympathize with Grossberg, or is he morally irredeemable?
It's a gray area for me. He did some shady things, but
Hemorrhoids.
I think it's more pathetic than like it's making me sad for him, not angry. You know what I mean? Like I don't resent him. I'm just like, what a fucking
because
loser.
he was being blackmailed.
He was being like it's a pathetic old man with hemorrhoids. And I do think he loved Maya and took care of her to is like the best he could.
I don't know.
What do you think?
I feel like his behavior was kind of shitty. Like,
It's like if, how would I say this? It's like kind of like if Mia was alive, her refusing to defend Trucy if she was ever held accountable for Phoenix murder.
Yeah.
Like, that's your mentor. Like,
That's your mentor's family.
He brought up Mia in the courthouse. And she wasn't, like, Misty wasn't around at the time either. So, like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's kind of shitty of him.
It's really shitty.
Even if there was blackmail on the line, like, I feel like I'd do it.
Yeah. But he's a pathetic person.
He is pathetic, but I think he's morally irredeemable. Like, that's
very
why
selfish.
He's very selfish, and it's very confusing to see him presented in such a light in Trials and Tribulations.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he's made fun of because of his hemorrhoids, but at the same time, like, this is a man who refuses to defend Maya.
Yeah.
And she almost goes to jail. Like, can you imagine if Phoenix wasn't there?
Insane.
She'd, like, go to jail.
Yeah.
She might get executed. Like,
Roseburg, you did fuck up.
I think he's morally irredeemable.
Yeah.
And it's confusing to see him presented in that light. That's why. So, yeah. But it's interesting you see him as a gray area.
Yeah. For me, it's like, because he was blackmailed. But for me, he's a coward.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
He's a coward.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So this is my last question. And then you have 2 more.
I have 3 more.
Huh? You started.
I have 9 questions.
You have 9 questions? Aris, we said less than 10. Jesus. Do you want to do another one? Say another one of your questions.
Okay. So my next question is, should Edgeworth be blamed for probably sending people to their death in the past?
Yes, absolutely.
Because of his last for winning cases? Or do we consider that to be Von Karma's doing?
No, yes, absolutely. I think about that a lot. Like, it's kind of... The thing is, with Francisca...
Were you going to say it's kind of glossed over?
Yeah.
It absolutely is.
Yeah, with, like, Francisca, because she's such a new lawyer, you can assume that it didn't happen a lot. And I don't
Not at all.
I don't feel like Francisca would send innocent people to jail. Because the way she related with Adrian Andrews, I do think she has compassion. I think she's ruthless.
She's a narcissist.
But I don't think she's like...
That's what she is.
was so hell-bent on victory as much as Edgeworth. And Godot, we know he has very few cases. Clavier, it's not really addressed. I mean, he wouldn't really do that. He helps us most of the time. And Blackwell was like a baby. I don't think he did anything wrong. Nayuta. But like, so Edgeworth is one of the main ones. And it's never addressed how he probably sent like hundreds of people to jail and maybe to their death. Like, I think, like, and it should be addressed. I think it's totally glossed over. And I think there should at least be a line in between the 2 games where it's like, I've like re-studied all of my cases to make sure like to defend people who have like wrongly accused of murder. Like it's never addressed again.
And it's kind of shocking that he has so much character development in investigations too, but not once does he think, wait, while I was under the influence of Von Karma, did I wrongfully send people to their death?
I would like there to be a line about him righting his wrongs and trying to like have an effect on what he did in the past and change that.
Like, I don't want to blame him, but come on, like, that's like horrible.
That's horrible, yeah, for sure.
Oh my god. Can you imagine? So yeah, that's my other question.
Yeah. So my last question, and then you have 2 left, is, do you think there is a link between Apollo's lack of identity and personality and his hectic childhood where it would travel all the time and have to adapt constantly?
I think I want Horace Knightley's kid in my. I think there's a correlation between Apollo's lack of character and bad writing.
Yeah. I think
It's
so
not
as
the
well.
like shifting childhood. I mean, that's what we were saying today, that traveling broadens in your horizon in your
Yeah.
mind. And if we go by that, he lived in like
Two countries?
two countries and like
Yeah.
various adventures. Even so, like his main thing is like his fucking pipes, like
Yeah.
how he'll scream.
And his bracelets.
Yeah, like his fucking cock ring. Like what the fuck?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the same way. I think that his lack of personality isn't intentional, so it cannot have a reasoning behind it. It's just due to bad writing. But however, I think it could be an interesting theory if someone wanted to write a fan fiction, not only like just about constantly traveling, but more so like being in an often a complete new setting. So having to adapt to people to survive and kind of developing this kind of bland personality, because he didn't really feel secure
I'll tell you
finding
what,
out
though.
himself.
I'll tell you what though. I do think there's a correlation between the, what did you call it, like traveling? Like his changing of
Of setting.
of setting throughout his childhood and his obvious anger issues.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like that must have caused his anger
This man
issues.
is angry at the world.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's an incel.
Yeah. And I think, like, even for instance, kids who would change school a lot, it would obviously, like, affect the way they interacted with other kids. Like, it would make keeping friends and having friends more difficult. Of course, like, for instance, I have a friend who lived all around the world, and she was, like, she's still friends with both of those people. And she loved it. Like, she loved living all over the world. But for some kids, it's really hard to them. And I feel like Apollo would be one of them. Like, he wouldn't really feel secure. And that
I
would
don't know
make me
why I
angry.
hate him so much. Like, I'm also kind of keen on saying that he, unfortunately for us,
Mhm.
most probably is hung.
That is a very hard thing to admit.
But he does.
You think?
I feel like he's a hung bottom. Like, he has both a nice
The
ass.
more you know.
And the more you know, absolutely the more you know. But I feel like he's hang, but like doesn't really know how to use it. And his stamina is shit. But like his dick is huge. It's circumcised as well. Like one of those mushroom dicks.
So, guys, the penis episode is coming shortly. We'll be discussing penis types, curves, length.
I constantly think of that moment when you're praising Detective Jowd in the Ghost Trick episode. You're like, and he probably paints as well. And I just say, and he probably has a huge fat too. And like, you say, we should do a dick episode.
Because we have discussed it in private.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
We've talked
We've
many times.
established that Edgeworth has a small dick.
Oh, 100%.
Yes.
Even though I do think he's a top.
And I do think
In
he's
that
not bad in
relationship.
bed.
Me neither.
I think he knows how to use it.
Me neither. I think like he's a top with Phoenix. Bottom. Phoenix is the bottom. But yeah, it's not big.
Okay. What's your next question? Is it related to penis?
It is not.
Oh no.
That's reserved for the penis episode.
Coming soon.
Very soon. My penultimate question is, do you think Pearls would blame her mother once she grew old enough to understand what happened?
Okay.
We kind of covered this,
I think so.
but we didn't talk about her relationship with Morgan.
I think she grew to hate her. Maybe not hate. I think
Really?
She'd have loads of mixed feelings about her. Because I do think she would miss her in a way and would like her to be there, but
We don't
Morgan-
see them working together, like their chemistry or anything.
Yeah,
That's
but I
interesting.
think she did love her. You know, it was her mom.
It'd be interesting if, like, once everything is revealed to Pearls, she kind of, like, tries to repeat what her mom did.
Yeah, takes her side in a way.
Yeah. Like,
Because also, it must feel horrible to be the kid of a psychopath. You must be like, oh, it's in my blood. I'm like her.
yeah, but also, like, she loves Maya, but, like, maybe Morgan's actions, like, would put Maya's behavior and, like, who she is in a different perspective for her.
Yeah.
And she'd be like, oh, this, like, genuinely doofus
Is gonna be
head of, like, the thing. And I am being swept to the side.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
That she could hold resentment over that.
Like, maybe she could take Morgan's side. That'd be interesting.
But I think she'd have mixed feelings about it. I think she'd both love and miss her, but also would be extremely mad that Morgan ruined everything.
For her.
Like, she could have had a good mom, a good cousin. She could have had it all. But Morgan had to seek revenge.
Sisters.
And the sisters, and also, as we discussed it, if Morgan hadn't done anything, Pearls would have still probably ended up head of Corain, because I think Maya is gonna not have kids and eventually leave her position to Pearls.
Yes.
And that Pearls, like, legacy would, like, take over. Because I do think Pearls will have kids.
Morgan, by doing the most, and, like, ended up, like,
literally
course
results.
Correcting, like, something that was inevitably gonna happen.
Exactly. So
sucks for you, girl.
exactly, if Morgan hadn't done anything, Pearls could have had, like, a lovely childhood.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So yeah, my last question, Bestie Sock, is Godot a hero, an anti-hero, or a villain? Good question.
I'm hesitating between, I think, anti-hero. He's definitely not a villain in my book. I think he's a hero of his own story, but you don't get to see the full story by the end of Trials and Tribulation. But he was a hero all along. You just didn't have his perspective. For me, he's a hero. What about you?
I think he's a hero. Who did he end up killing?
Misty.
Who was possessed
by Dahlia.
I mean, that was pretty heroic.
Yeah. He was saving someone.
No, he's a hero. He's not even an anti-hero. Like,
no, he's not.
Look, he might fall into the, like, traditional, like, boyfriend, like, macho, big shot shit. Like, oh, like, I'm gonna blame the world because my girlfriend died at the hands of the injustices of the legal system.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo. Like, it's all Phoenix's fault. Wah, wah. Like,
Who indeed?
Sir?
This
You are
is
a Oh.
Two very different answers.
And from, like, ugh. Yeah. But basically, like, he does fit into that stereotypical category and role, but he has every excuse to be angry.
He does.
Like, Mia wouldn't endorse it and wouldn't, like, encourage it, but he should be angry.
It would be weird if he hadn't been.
Yeah, he genuinely loved
like
her.
Like Misty. Like, Misty had showed no reaction to Mia's death. That's weird.
She didn't care. She didn't care that her daughter died.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like, Godot is definitely a hero in my book. Like,
agreed.
He saved Maya.
Yeah, he did.
The only thing villainous about him
is the misogynistic
I was
dialogue.
gonna say that one line.
Oh my god.
But that didn't
Why
happen.
did they write it that in?
didn't happen. That was a fiction of our imagination.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that.
We are going to pretend we didn't hear that.
Absolutely.
So that's a wrap. Those were our questions.
Is it? I thought it was a taco.
It is absolutely. No, it's a burrito actually.
A burrito,
Yeah.
not an enchilada?
Nah, a quesadilla.
Absolutely culture insignificance and ignorance.
Exactly. Okay. Well, that's the shoe. What are you gonna do now?
Now, what are we gonna do?
Do you want the real response or the fake response?
I think I'm going to go practice eating balloons for my role in this very big circus.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's so perverted there, instead of eating them, I'm gonna practice putting them up my ass.
That sounds like an excellent plan. That would be definitely a showstopper in my book.
And my stomach is gonna get filled with helium.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna start floating.
Amazing. It will be like Up the sequel.
Up the sequel. A guy puts balloons up his ass.
With Ilium. Absolutely. I'd watch that.
I'd watch that. Who would play me?
Wait. Because I was just thinking today you look like an actor.
What?
Yeah. What?
What?
For some reason, a young Keanu Reeves come to mind.
What?
But I don't know. I did think he looked like an actor. I can't remember who.
Okay, so it's coming out 2027 and Brad Pitt will be playing me.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll take that. And if I remember who it is, I'll let you know.
We'll add it in the end of this episode.
Yes.
Who Lucy thinks I look like.
Yes.
Which is shocking because you've never told me this.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that yesterday when we were traveling. I can't remember who.
Okay.
And for
some
myself,
people told me that I look like Noah Centineo. Do you see that?
I could see it. It's the face shape.
Oh my god. I hate him. He looks like a character from Lilo and Stitch.
Okay. Well.
And also, what's that name? That magician's name in the States?
David Blake. Huh?
That magician. Someone told me that I look like him.
David Blaine?
Is it? I only remember him. Yeah, David Blaine. Someone told me I look like David Blaine.
You don't.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I only remember his face distinctly from that meme that says, "Is this your card? No. Check under your foreskin."
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I'm gonna put that up.
Jesus.
Okay, so what are you doing next, bestie? Sock.
I'm gonna try to find an ice bucket and dunk my whole body into it because I'm so warm. I need to cool off. That is my plan for the night.
Absolutely, you do not withstand my home country's weather.
I am very warm, but it is worth it. Guys, please come. It's great.
Please come, please ejaculate.
Yeah, I'd love that.
We love to endorse coming.
All right. Well,
thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Absolutely.
I love you.
We do have something special planned.
Oh, we absolutely do. We have something very special planned.
But let's not
But
jinx
I don't want
it.
to jinx it.
Yeah,
so
same.
yeah. No, let's not say it.
Okay, thank you so much for tuning in. And
see you next week.
Good night.
Good
See you next week. Why are you waving?
They can't see me, but I'm waving.
Absolutely.
It's all about the vibes.
It is absolutely all about the vibes.
Absolutely.
Okay, let me finish this.